Hey guys, it's Chris at Tickle Me Pink Wreaths. I thought I would just come on here really quick and show you how to make a bow. I am making a wreath for a friend of mine, and it's a bee theme, so I just thought I would come on here and kind of show you how I make just a simple bow by hand. And then there's a couple ways I make bows by hands, but this is just using 3 2.5 inch and a 1.5 inch ribbon. And so I'm going to, I guess I can show you the ribbon. It's going to be this yellow and black and white polka dot trim edge. Love it. And then staying with the polka dot, we're going to do the yellow, black and white polka dot. And then since it's bees, we've got to get some bees in there. So this is going to be very, very cute and bright for her porch. And then I'm using this one, that it has the bees and it has the buffalo black and white checked. It's very, very cute, very pretty. So I'm just going to bring you down just a little bit where you can see me making the ribbon. So I'm going to start with my solid color. A lot of times I just drop my ribbon to the floor. It's easier for me, but but sometimes you can't do that because if you have dogs, or because I have several dogs that I know that would get into it. So you have to start to determine what size tail you want. So and that can always just be held up to your project you're doing, your wreath, your design, your centerpiece, whatever you want. I'm just going to do like a 12-inch tail here. Okay. Okay, maybe a 14-inch tail. I lied a little bit. Apparently my measurement's off. And I just pinch it together. That's all I do is pinch it together. Now when you pinch it together, if I bring this up, see it's going to have the ugly side on it? You don't want the ugly side. So when you pinch it, you have to twist. And then you just bring it up to whatever size loop that you want. Now I have a mat that you can see down here that you can measure. So I can go. And your loops are going to be based on your project too. So if you have this little teeny tiny project, little teeny tiny design, or a centerpiece that you're working on, you're not going to want these big ginormous loops. This loop is not big and ginormous, but it's about a 7-inch, and I think 7 inches is going to be perfect for my project. So now when you've done it, now it brought back up the pretty. So again, if you just bring that up, you're going to bring up the ugly again. You don't want to do that. Always remember to twist. Twist, and then bring your ribbon back up. So here we are. That's just a 2-loop. So, I mean, you could, if you're making a wreath of 2 loops, then you're perfectly fine. You could stop here. I'm not, so I'm going to do 4 loops on this one. So you can measure by the mat we have down here, or you can just bring your up, and you can see I'm off. This tail here is too long, or this tail is too short. So I want to bring this one in just a little bit. Just keep it pinched in your fingers. And that's about perfect right there, if you can see. It's about perfect. Might be a little too long. I'll bring this one in just a smidge. Yep, perfect. So again, I'm keeping them pinched, and I'm just going to twist and bring in another loop. And I want all these loops the same size, so I can just bring them up together and see that they are the same size. And then twist and bring in another loop. And that's basically what you do. Now, when you want to add another ribbon, to make it easier for you guys to see, I'm going to go ahead and trim off this extra here. And again, it depends on your project of how long you want your loops. Now, you can bring this one, let me show you here, you can hang them both down, or you can bring this one up, and it can be flowing up on your wreath, depending on what you want. I want mine all flowing down. So I'm done with that ribbon. I'm going to put it aside. So the next, I'm going to do the polka dot. So I'm just going to pull some out here, and you'll think this is kind of weird. I for some reason, after I do my first one, I have to switch hands. I know it's strange. I'm right-handed, so I've just put my ribbon over top just to kind of flow down to where it meets my first ribbon. And then I'm going to pinch it in the middle, continuing to hold it I'm just holding it with 2 fingers. I'm not gripping it really tight. I'm just loosely holding it with 2 fingers. Then I'm going to pinch and twist and bring up the pretty. Now you're going to want this loop a little smaller than your other loops. See how it's just a little smaller? Just a little smaller. And you can, if you wanted, you can make it 1 inch, you can make it 1/2 inch, whatever you want. See, it's just a little smaller. So I only want two loops of those. So I don't have to pinch anymore. I just leave my ribbon flowing, and I'm just going to cut it off and move on to the next one. The next one we're going to do is the bee. So again, I'm running out of this one. So again, I'm just going to flip this one over. Pinch it in the middle, twist, and bring it up, and it's going to be a smaller than your last one. So you can see it's a little smaller. Twist and bring it up. And where's it at? Where's my polka dot? It's hiding back here. Okay, there it is. And gotta pull it down a little bit. And it's a little smaller than the polka dot. That worked out almost perfect. I ran out a ribbon on that one. And then the last one, I like to end up, after I do all of my loops that I want, I like to end up with a 1.5. Sometimes I don't, but typically I do a 1.5 there at the very end. So again, I just flip it over, get it in my hands, pinch it together, and do a nice little twist, and then bring it. Now again, if I didn't twist, remember, if I didn't twist and I brought it up, it's going to have the ugly side. You don't want the ugly side. So that's why you have to twist and bring it up. Twist and bring it up. And again, the way you measure, you can just pull them up together. You can just pull them up together. And if you need to adjust, like this one's a little higher, you can just pull it through and it comes right up. So I'm just going to clip this off down here at the bottom. And there I have my loops. Now you can kind of rearrange them a little bit while you have them in your hand. I typically just wait until I get my pipe cleaner on before I start arranging them. And then after I do this, I'll show you how I cut my dovetails. So I typically do a pipe cleaner, and I'm going to do a pipe cleaner on this one because this one's going on a grapevine, so I'm only going to use one. If this was going on an evergreen with mesh, I would have put 2 of these together because you have to go through all the evergreen and the mesh, and I want to make sure I have enough pipe cleaner to tie in the back. You can also use a zip tie. Zip ties are going to hold it very, I use zip ties a lot if I'm dealing with like 4-inch, a nice thick 4-inch designer ribbon. I use this because this is going to hold it. Can you imagine if you had your 4-inch designer? And let me tell you, designer ribbon is very, very stiff. This is, it makes a nice loop, guys, but when you're talking about a designer ribbon, I can do a 10-inch loop and that baby is not going anywhere. It is stiff and it is staying in place where it needs to be. So this ribbon that I'm using here it's very quality ribbon, but it's just not made with that thicker wire like the designer ribbon is. So I'm not going to use this. I don't need that. So I just take it where I'm pinching it in the middle, and I'm just using 2 fingers, guys. These other fingers are just kind of hanging out here. So I just take it, and while I'm taking it, I grab it with the other hand, and I bring my pipe cleaner around, and I pull. Let me show you here. I got my 2 fingers on each side of my pipe cleaner. So right now, my thumb is in the middle. My thumb is in the middle of my where I had pinched all the ribbon together, and I've got 2 fingers over here on the other side. And I pull. I give it a pretty good tug, and then I just twist. And you twist. I don't know. I twist several times because I want to make sure it's going to stay there. Now, when I go and put this into the grapevine, I'm going to put one on each side. So, so after you get this done, you can maneuver your loops around. I mean, it's not in there so tight that you cannot move your stuff around. So let's lay this down here on the table. And again, I wanted all of my tails. Let me push you down just a little bit further. I wanted all my tails coming down. You could have made it where some of the tails were going up this way, but I didn't want that on this wreath. It's an elongated wreath, grapevine, and I wanted all the tails coming down. So once I get it all on here and everything looks good and it's where I want it, then I just start going around and I just pinch the end of the ribbon and I just cut off. Now, once you get it on your design, at this point I normally don't trim them on the table. I put it on my design and I see how far down I want my tails. But I'm just going to go ahead and trim just to show you how I do it. Just trim off the ends of them. I just trim, and I take the next one and I just pinch it and cut down. Pinch it in the middle, and if you want to make sure it's perfect, you can always just bring it together like this, and then just cut the tip off. Now this is ugly down here, so I'll come up a little further on it and trim. So I just pinch it together if you want to be perfect. Normally I'm not too awful perfect. I usually just take it down, pinch it in the middle, trim it off. Bring it down, pinch it in the middle, trim it off. And that's what I do. Now if you have something like this where it's just a little bee butt hanging out here, I just go above that and trim it off. It just makes it look just a little bit better. And you can't do that on all of your ribbon. So that's how I make a hand bow. I also use, and some of you that's been on my videos before, I also use the Easy Bow Maker, and it's got, oops, this one's not glued in. Let me get another one here. I glued these in because these kept popping out on me. So I just used this Easy Bow Maker. It just has these 2 little wood rods here that stick out. It does have another one over here. I took it out. I don't use that one. This one was a little shorter. It was probably, I don't know, I would say 3 inches. And all it was for was just for you to put your ribbon on, so you can manipulate on the Easy Bow Maker. I didn't like it. It was getting in my way, so I took it off. But this is a great thing, a great tool to use if you have arthritis in your hands. You know, your hands just aren't moving as good as they should that day that you're wanting to do these bows. I use this a lot because I do have arthritis in my hands, and this thing is just an absolute savior for my hands. Today my hands were working pretty good, so we went ahead and made it by hand. I will come on here again and show you how to do a bow on an Easy Bow, and when I make one on the Easy Bow, I will show you how we have all the loops going down on this one. I will show you how you can put your loops up here, so you have a nice big round bow of loops, or not loops, tails all the way around the bow. I will show you that on the bow maker. It's really easy. But this one, like I said, it's going on an elongated grapevine wreath, and I want them, all my tails going down. So that is how I make it. I forgot to show you, but another way to tell if you've made a decent bow is when you're done making your bow, you have like a sandwich look. You can see each layer of your ribbon. So that's just one way of looking. When I first started making bows by hand, let me put you up here since I'm talking to you. Hey. When I first started making bows by hand, I wanted to be really very delicate with the ribbon. I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to hurt the ribbon. You know, you're not going to hurt the ribbon. So, but you don't have to grip it super tight. You saw how loose I just held it in between these two fingers. When I work with 4-inch, I don't have any, yes I do, here. When I work with 4-inch, it's a little different. This is just a leftover I have. It's a little different because when you're working, and this is not a real stiff ribbon. This is just it's a quality ribbon, but not real stiff like we were talking about earlier. But it is a 4-inch. So when I do hold it, a 4-inch, I usually hold it in my whole palm of my hand because it's thicker. Especially when you start adding multiple ribbon on top, it gets really thick, so it might take your whole hand to hold it. But when you're dealing with just one, I mean, it's the same concept. You know, you just pinch it together, you give it that twist, and you come back around with your loop. And you twist it all together again. And that gives you your nice, pretty loop. Nice, beautiful loop. But anyways, guys, that is it for tonight. I just wanted to show you how to make a hand bow. I hope that helped you. I think it's easier to watch just, you know, somebody do it over and over. The easy bow is along the same concept. You can get these easy bow makers at Deco Exchange. You can get them at Michael's. I don't know where else has them. I bought mine at Michael's. They do not have them at Hobby Lobby. So I think they're only $14, $15, somewhere around in there. So it's worth the money to get one if you're trying to do bows. All right, guys, I am done for this evening, but I will be back on here again maybe sometime this week. All right, guys, bye.